In the 1930s, Australia rode on the sheep's back. It was often said that the number of sheep in Australia was greater than the number of people. The industry remains important to this day, even if it no longer holds the completely dominant position that it once did. The Mills family had operated an extraordinarily successful sheep station called Uardry since 1875. A great deal of its success was owed to managing director Neilson Mills, who was still a director at the time of this dispute. His nephew Ainsley became a director and large shareholder at age 25. It seems there were bitter personal disputes between Neilson and Ainsley, and these disputes threatened to spill over into the management of the property. Around this time, Neilson instigated a large dividend which was to be paid to shareholders in the form of additional ordinary shares. This share issue then had a number of knock-on effects, one of which was to leave Neilson in a much better position to resist Ainsley's influence over decisions in the company. Ainsley challenged the decision, arguing that Neilson and another director who had voted with him had sought a personal benefit, that of securing Neilson's power. The first instance judge found that their main purpose had been the proper purpose of distributing profits to shareholders. Ainsley appealed. The question before the High Court was essentially how to determine the validity of a director's conduct when their decisions affected both the company's interests and their own. Chief Justice Latham said, "A director who holds one or both classes of such shares is not, in my opinion, required by the law to live in an unreal region of detached altruism and to act in a vague mood of ideal abstraction from obvious facts which must be present to the mind of any honest and intelligent man when he exercises his powers as a director. It would be setting up an impossible standard to hold that if an action of a director were affected in any degree by the fact that he was a preference or ordinary shareholder, his action was invalid and should be set aside." The outcome from this case was practical and sensible. Directors are not expected to completely disregard their own interests when making decisions. However, their own interests cannot be the primary or sole concern. The interests of the company must come first.